All right, check this out. We have the Note 2 and the Samsung Mega right next to each other with their batteries, and an iPhone 4S for size comparison. These are some gigantic phones. Today we're going to take apart the Samsung Mega. There are 14 screws surrounding the outside of the phone. And instead of making you watch me take apart each screw, I'm just going to diagram them out here. You can pause this if you need to. And then to separate the screen from the phone itself, it's exactly like the Galaxy S4, where it's in the middle of the silver bracket around the outside. There's a little opening. I just spread it open with my finger a little bit and then slipped my pry tool in and swiped it around the outside edge, gently unclasping each clasp as I circled the outside. And then at the top, inside the little battery compartment, there's another little latch. Gave me a little trouble, just wiggle it around a little bit, and then you'll see that the back just slides away from the rest of the phone. Right here you can see the loudspeaker as well that's also attached to the back, and I'll go back to that in a second. Here's the charging port. You could technically get inside this phone, switch the charging port, and be completely done in about 3 minutes. The charging port is that easy to fix. I unclasped the 2 ribbon cables up at the top, and I'm just swiping my pry tool underneath the charging port, just unsticking it from the tape below it, and that is it. The charging port is out and ready to swap. Samsung usually has these for about $10 or so. I'll list them in the video description below as soon as they become available. That way you can swap yours out if you need to. There's a little wire cable that I just unclipped. You just lift it up. 2 ribbon cables up at the top, 1 ribbon cable at the side, and another one up by the audio port. Headphone jack right here. They're just like little Legos. You just unclasp them from the motherboard. And then there's 1 screw right in the middle of the motherboard that holds the whole thing down. And that's the only small screw on this whole thing. All the rest of the screws are the same size. You'll see 1 more wire cable right here that I'm going to lift up and off the board. And then 1 more ribbon cable that's kind of on that little leg of the motherboard right down here. I missed it the first time around. Unlatch it right there, and the motherboard comes loose from the phone. And you can also see the camera right there. That just has a little ribbon cable that you can unclasp as well. So if you need to switch out the camera, it's pretty straightforward. So here's the screen of the phone. This is what you'll be replacing if you ever crack it or drop it. I will also link another video that shows how to separate the glass, but the success rate on that is very, very low. So I would recommend replacing the whole thing as a unit. The headphone jack and everything else, depending on what screen you get, you might need to swap out the headphone jack and the earpiece. But there's just a little screw at the top that lets all those loose, as well as the camera. Anyway, putting the motherboard back into place right now, making sure all of the wire cables and ribbon cables are on the right side of the motherboard, which is the upper side and not pinched down beneath. Just clicking them all into place. You got to make sure that they sit right before you apply any pressure so you don't bend any of the connections. So I'm going to find the little groove it sits in and then press it down just like a little Lego. Lifting this up, making sure the ribbon cable's on the upper side of the motherboard as well. Once again, any replacement parts and stuff you can find in the video description below. If you need anything specific, just leave me a comment or email me and I'll find it for you. Make sure you get the right parts so you're not wasting your time or your money. Right now I'm just clipping in one of the little wire cables. You gotta be really careful with the head of it. So I'm being super gentle as I press it down into place because you only got 1 chance of this. If you bend one of the heads on these wire cables, then you just got to get a new wire cable, and they're kind of hard to find. Same thing with this other side, being super careful, super gentle, making sure it lines up, and then clipping it into place. I'm just making sure all the wire and all the cables are pressed down, getting that final screw back into place as well. If you forget to latch one of the little ribbon cables and you get the whole phone put back together, then you gotta waste your time and open it all back up again. So check twice before you put everything back together. Charging ports going back in. Just going to press it down into place over the glue where it was before. Snap the 2 ribbon cables that connect it to the rest of the phone. Get them in place. Slide it down inside the little groove that it was sitting in. And place the back in place as well. So here is the speaker. It has those 2 little connectors that attach to the motherboard. And that's how the speaker that's attached to the frame gets its power. Clipping the frame back into the screen right here, you'll hear a bunch of little tiny clicks as all the latches go back into place, sitting completely flush again. There's nothing to indicate that the phone was opened. Let me get all these screws back into place again, all 14 of them on this gigantic phone. Battery's back in, back's back on, and everything works. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like if this video helped you, and don't forget to subscribe. If I helped you in any way, the best thing you can do for me is subscribe to my channel. Anyway, hit me up on Facebook, Google+, or Twitter. Hope to see you around. Thanks for watching.